Hey guys, it's Nick. Today, European and US natural gas futures had big jumps on the news that Russia will cut the flows in the Nord Stream 1 natural gas pipeline from 40% of capacity to just 20% on Wednesday because another turbine needs to be removed for maintenance. So, how much of this turbine maintenance stuff is real and how much of it is payback for the sanctions? If you haven't been following this very closely, the Nord Stream 1 pipeline flows dropped by 60% when Canada said they would not return a turbine sent for repair because of the sanctions. Now, they have since agreed to send it to Germany, but Russia has yet to receive it. And then the pipeline flow went down to zero for 10 days in July for scheduled maintenance. And so for a few days, the pipeline did come back online at the previous 40% of capacity it had before the maintenance shutdown. Now, Europe gets 40% of its natural gas and 30% of its oil from Russia. And right now, Germany is trying to fill its natural gas storage tanks before the winter. So currently, they are only about 66% full, but they want them to be 95% full before November 1st. If the Nord Stream 1 pipeline continues at these reduced levels, Germany will not reach their storage target for the winter. So let's take a look at the situation with these turbines at the Portovaya compressor station in Vyborg, Russia, where the Nord Stream 1 pipeline leaves Russia and goes through the Baltic Sea into Germany. So here in this Reuters article, they have a pretty good explanation of the whole turbine situation. And so the turbine in question is an SGT A65 Siemens energy turbine that is 12 meters or about 36 feet long and weighs about 20 tons. And here's some interesting facts about this turbine. This turbine is 50 to 55 megawatts, and it is based on the Rolls-Royce Trent 800 aircraft engine developed for the Boeing 777. And so Siemens bought out this Rolls-Royce turbine division a few years back. So these turbines aren't just used for natural gas pipelines, they're used in utilities to generate electricity and industrial power as well. And they're also used on Navy ships, apparently. And why did this turbine have to be sent all the way to Canada to get fixed? Well, this type of turbine was privately developed by Rolls-Royce, and development was sponsored in part by the government of Canada and the province of Quebec. So that's why it went to Montreal, I'm guessing. And don't they just have a few spare ones laying around? Well, apparently there's only about 124 of these ever produced. And so while this turbine is still stuck in transit in Germany, Russia is now saying that a second turbine at the compressor station has some defects, while Siemens says that its turbine maintenance was a routine procedure and that there had been no complications during the last 10 years of maintenance. At this point in time, we see no link between the turbine and the gas cuts that have been implemented or announced. So what's the problem? Well, for one, Putin says the West has unleashed an economic war aimed at destroying Russia and its economy. And so the Gazprom capacity cut down to 20% is over what Gazprom describes as faulty equipment, most notably the delayed return of the SGTA 65 turbine. But Germany disputes that and has said that the turbines are a pretext and that Moscow is using gas as a political weapon. They don't even have the guts to say, "We are in an economic war with you," German Economy Minister Robert Habeck said on Monday. And if you don't know who he is, there's an interview with him on Spiegel International. And when Der Spiegel asks him, as a private citizen, what are you doing differently now than, say, 4 months ago? And so to virtue signal, he says, I am adhering to the advice of my ministry. I have drastically reduced the amount of time I spend in the shower. And I come home late, get up at 6 a.m., and I'm out of the house by 7. With such a schedule, it's not necessary to heat in the winter. They ask, how long does it take you to take a shower? He said, my counterpart from the Netherlands recently told me proudly that they had launched a campaign intended to cut the average showering time from 10 minutes to 5. I had to laugh. I have never showered for 5 minutes in my life. I shower quickly. So, since he's here virtue signaling about what regular German people should be doing this winter, I'm surprised he didn't pull out the World Economic Forum talking points of also promoting eating bugs to be green as well. Now, back to the turbines. Gazprom has also halted another Siemens turbine at the station, citing routine maintenance and the technical condition of the engine. And they say 8 industrial gas turbines were originally manufactured by Rolls-Royce for the Portovaya station, and Rolls-Royce's gas turbine making operations were bought by Siemens Energy in 2014. Now, these turbines are needed to power so-called driving centrifugal compressors, which essentially raise pressure by condensing gas volumes. So what this means is that these turbines do not push the gas through the pipes themselves. They actually have a shaft that turns the compressors, which compresses the gas and pushes it through the pipeline. And these turbines are fueled by natural gas. Now, here's the strange part. According to Gazprom, 6 of the gas pumping units have a capacity of 52 megawatts, while 2 units have a capacity of 27 megawatts. So there's 8 of them, and 6 of them are big, and 2 of them are half as big, approximately. And it says, in addition, there are 4 spare turbines on the site to make sure the station keeps pumping if some equipment has to leave the site for maintenance, which usually happens every 2 or 3 years, a person familiar with the matter said. Now, this doesn't say that this is Gazprom saying it. This is a person familiar with the matter. So do they have these spare turbines that they can swap in and out or use when one of them is in maintenance? I don't know. It also says 2 of the 6 large units may stay idle without reducing the station's capacity, according to a source familiar with how the station operates. So it's a little bit like an airplane. If they have 4 turbine engines on the plane, it's designed to fly even if 1 or 2 of the engines conk out completely. This is kind of the same thing. They have some redundancy there, although the strain on the remaining turbines will probably be stronger if not all 6 are working and only maybe 4 are working. And so Gazprom didn't reply to repeated questions about Nord Stream 1 operations. And understandably, a lot of people are saying this is just the Russians making excuses while they put pressure on the European energy market. That is entirely possible because we just don't know enough from either Siemens or Gazprom about the maintenance schedule. The problem is that neither side is giving us the information that we need. And this Nord Stream pipeline can produce 55 billion cubic meters per year, and that is about a third of Russia's total gas supply to the European Union. And this article says that Siemens finally delivered the Canadian export license for this turbine, but that the turbine delivery wouldn't immediately result in increased nat gas flows on the Nord Stream 1 due to other equipment needing maintenance work. And they say the turbine will be installed after all the technical formalities have been completed and the flows will be at levels that are technologically possible, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Monday. We have issues with other equipment of which Siemens is well aware. And he also said Russia is not interested in a complete turnoff of Nord Stream 1, but warned that if Europe continues its course of absolutely reckless imposing sanctions and restrictions that are hitting it, the situation may change. And Deutsche Bank says, don't forget as well that Putin has suggested that if the turbine is not back early this week, then gas flow may fall to 20% capacity, even though originally this turbine wasn't expected to be needed until September. And here on this Russia Times article, according to Kommersant, several of the 9 turbines, now they say it's 9 turbines, Reuters says it's 8 turbines, are in need of repair But the paper notes that Gazprom has not yet authorized further repairs and that one turbine took about 3 months to overhaul. The current licensing agreement allows Siemens Energy to accept 5 more turbines for repair before the end of 2024. So theoretically, Gazprom could say, there's 5 more turbines that we have a technical problem with that we need to send back to Siemens for you guys to send to Canada for a few months to fix. And so this news sent European natural gas futures up 12% to 196 euros, which is almost the high that it reached in early March at the beginning of the invasion. And even natural gas futures in the US are up more than 10% to $9.62, which is a 14-year high. And looking at it at an oil barrel equivalent, meaning the energy equivalent of a barrel of oil, what is the price of EU natural gas versus US natural gas versus WTI crude? And so US natural gas is now trending over 60% higher than crude equivalent, and normally they trade pretty much in line. And EU natural gas is more than twice as expensive as US natural gas. And so if the gas is cut off, what is Europe's plan and what are the projections for GDP revisions? The EU is ready to release emergency plans to reduce gas demands across the whole continent. And the target would be a 10 to 15% overall cut of gas use. And so they're saying that this would allow gas storage to be filled to capacity before a potential end of Russian supply. And here are projections on what would happen to European GDP if there was a theoretical gas supply shutoff for 12 months. And so the orange is best case scenario, the red is worst case scenario. And so best case means low adjustment frictions, integration into global LNG market. Worst case is high adjustment frictions, households protected from shortages. And this is sourced from the IMF. And so Hungary, Italy, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic would be hit the hardest. Surprisingly, Germany would only be down 2.8%. I saw other numbers that estimated a 12% hit, so I don't know who to believe here. So it looks pretty obvious that Russia is using the Canada turbine fiasco as leverage against Germany and the EU. Now, Germany can do what they want as long as they check with the US first, but it is probably not a good idea to put sanctions against the biggest supplier of the energy that runs your economy. That and sending weapons to be used against the army of your biggest energy supplier is not going to win you any favors with them. Russia could be trying to make sure that Germany does not reach its gas storage goals so that they have leverage and possible public backlash in Germany if gas shortages leads to suffering and even deaths this winter. Then there is also the issue of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which runs right along the same route as Nord Stream 1 and has the same 55 billion cubic meters per year capacity. The US has been trying to block it even though Germany asked for it to be built. And Russia has said the pipeline is operational. Now, before the Russian invasion, Germany delayed the operating license. But now they have said it's a dead issue. If the Nord Stream 1 pipeline is having technical problems, I'm sure Russia would be willing to turn on Nord Stream 2 to help out the German citizens this winter, with a few conditions, of course. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.